All right, let's talk. All right, Black History Month, people. We are still here. We are
Yes,
still
sir.
talking about our Black History Month. It's been full of inventors, full of more than just inventors, people that were influential to our Black history, pointing out individuals of positive, um, as I've been trying to say, some things that gets us away from pointing towards negativity. I'm basically talking about things that, are, as I say, in a sense, people that are Black and promoted a situation to the world or a piece of something to the world that's here to last forever. Now, there's a lot of other angles, and there are a lot of other things that are considerably pinnacle that I didn't bring up, that I was, considerably gonna fill in the gaps with. But I
Yeah.
still have names and people that I want to call out. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of some people. Some people may not have heard of some of these people I'm gonna call out. Um, what's your idea towards today? What did you feel the same? What did you have anybody that you were going to talk about, or individual, or something that happened in history, something that's been or to come?
Like what's good, people? What's good, man? Welcome back, everybody. Like me and you were talking about earlier, man, about clothing, fashion, man. Um, how Tupac, like one of my favorite rappers, was wearing this clothing line, this clothing brand, and I didn't even know it was from a black founder, a black founder clothing line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's crazy. And then you educated me on some of these urban street clothes, these clothing lines that was popping back in the 90s, and very influential, man, the black community. Um, just the music scene and the fashion scene, bro, like it's deep. You know what I'm saying? How basically these brothers just started from nothing, man, and had a dream, and invested into it, spent their last dime on starting the line up, and just believing in themselves, man, and pushing it. um I found that to be very, very influential to me, you know what I'm saying, and very encouraging, me being an entertainer, black entertainer. So um it's always good to see your history, learn your history, you know.
Mm-hmm. In that time, nineties was hip hop central at that time. It was centralized as black stamp. Everybody was gravitating to hip hop. I mean, whatever was a brand wanted to have something to do with hip hop at that time. Of course, um, the black community was more so really starting to urbanize when it came to like clothes and stuff at that time too. So it's not like something to take small in the 90s, especially when it comes to fashion, because a lot of the stuff that broke out at that time, bro, was a breakout at that time, was like I say, the fashion, what people were wearing.
And can I speak? Sorry to cut in, bro. I want to put this name out there. Karl Kani. Am I pronouncing that right, bro?
Nah.
Kani. Karl
Yeah.
Kani.
Yeah.
Karl Kani is who I'm speaking on. Was a cat from Brooklyn that started a clothing line. A lot of greats, were seen rocking this product, from Tupac to Aaliyah, had a big name, man, to Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls actually died in a pair of Karl jeans, like it was that deep. Tupac put him in a song, you know what I'm saying? Like when he got shot, his Karl boxes, he felt the bullet through his Karl boxes. Like, so this man was influential, and it was a brother. So I wanted to throw that name out there, just for the people, y'all want to go research it. Yeah.
Karl Kani was speaking from a time of, especially a angle where um fashion was starting to be a hit again, like I was saying. Karl Kani was probably the most underside, but at the same time, it was like a very slow movement. I never forget like especially like you speaking of like hip hop artists, like if hip hop artists was wearing it, considerably that was considered the stamp. So you had mostly Tupac, Biggie. You see both of them in this brand.
Yeah.
Of course, it was gonna be a thing of. You see all these R&B singers in this brand. Of course, it's gonna be a thing of, and it wasn't like like lightly sprinkled. I'm talking about from head to toe. Karl Kani hat, you know,
Boxers, like
Karl
I said,
Kani
the boxers,
toboggan, Karl Kani hoodies, Karl
jeans.
Kani jackets, coats, the jeans, the shorts. I mean sweatsuits, the joggers,
It's crazy.
all the way down to the sneakers. Like I had even boots. Karl Kani boots is a big phase too. So it was like, this was like a phase, but the phase was so short. It was like in and out. It was like, maybe that late 80 to maybe about 94, 95. I want to say 93, 94, 95 range. That's when it like slowed down.
But can I say
Even,
something? Can I
yeah,
say something?
yeah.
Around this time, and it's crazy because you had the Tommy Hill figures in the world. A lot of people were trying to copy Karl's image and steal his product. You know what I'm saying? He actually had to investigate himself, and trying to find out who was stealing his product, stealing his ideas and stuff like that. So that shows a challenge of a black entrepreneur coming up, like people might love the product, but it being a brother, it might not be as valued to the world as like a white product would be, like I'll respect it as a white product would be, like, because people in their right minds would be like, nah, I never, steal from Tommy Hilfiger because of the name. But I guess, it being a black product, it was respected, but not to the extent of Tommy Hilfiger, if you get what I'm saying. Like the people, black community really respected it. And he had, he was global too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying as far as a generation, and it was the youth, the black youth that really gravitated to Karl's brand. You get what I'm saying?
Another thing too to add to that, um, and honestly, it wasn't Karl Kani's fault. It was actually the black community who absorbed the whole situation with Tommy Hilfiger. And that was the crazy part, because when Tommy became a thing early 90s, I remember it was like you would rarely see it, but it was like a thing that was like slowly catching ground, because as I said, the hip hop artist award that made anybody that was anybody want to go run to wear this brand. Not even just Tommy Hilfiger, like Nautica. That was another
Yeah.
name that was becoming a thing of then as well. But it actually started a bubble for the black creators when it came to like creating clothes. So you had people that was starting to become like actual brands. Like they saw the whole situation what Karl Kani did. They was
Yeah.
trying to do the same thing. So you had people like um uh Helly Hansen. That's another name that was trying to be an actual brand. As I say, branding themselves as hip hop. South
Uh-huh.
Pole became big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you had
Then
brands
you
like,
have Fubu.
yeah, Fubu. You had brands like Pele. You had Avrix. All of these names were just coming out in the 90s. As I said, it was like a phase though, because it's like everybody saw Karl Kani and everybody had a dream, which is what it was supposed to be. You think about it. Even
What's the
Cross
colors?
Colors,
Yeah.
Cross
Yep.
Colors was
Yep.
out too, and then Cross Colors was making this thing where it was all bright colors. It wasn't nothing. It was nothing that was like toned down. I remember every cross color coat, jacket I had, the pants, the overalls. Like I need to pull up some of my
But
elementary.
bro, that's what they love though. When
Yeah.
they brought that to it was a white person they brought it to with blonde hair, and she actually loved the product. She's like, I love this.
Yeah.
So when and it's crazy when they switched it up, when they went, to regular colors and toned down the bright colors, it wasn't accepted like that. People love the colors.
Yeah.
The originality, you know what I'm saying?
And it was really a battle. So you had people who was like cross colors was twisting colors like this. So you take the red, yellow, the green, and the black, and they put
Kente the slave, the roots.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That it was going big around that time. Yeah,
they put a spin on. They was putting a spin on it to make it a thing of. They wanted it to be represented as black, which was good.
Yeah,
but of course, I hate to say it, which is what I saw a lot of times is a lot of, my peers couldn't afford clothes like that. And it was like a thing where it presented a very good look for black people, but at the same time, it actually messed us up because we didn't have respect amongst each other to say, okay, well, why he got that? Well, I don't like him because he wearing it. I want it too. So they might do something real shady. And this was like I said, 90s, bro. Like I remember one time when I was like maybe 8, 9, 10 range, maybe, and I was at a pool, a city pool, basically.
Yeah.
And we was all there. And this was like the big time when Fila was starting to become big along meeting the grounds of like, because I remember it was like I had on some Karl Kani jeans and my white Filas, and the situation, I can't remember about how the outfit went, but I remember it was one situation we was there, and I had just got these Filas like with that week before. Went in to go to the pool, got in the pool, we got out the pool, come back into the locker room, my shoes was gone. And that time frame was starting that was really starting to start that time frame of like how black people were starting to hate on each other in a sense. Of course, it was always that, but saying the hip hop era of hate and the way you look, the way you carried yourself. Oh, you got money. Oh, let's go after this guy. That's considered.
That's the guy we gonna rob. That's the guy we need to rob.
So if you had cross colors, if you had Karl Kani, if you had anything like that on, people were gonna look at you differently. They were gonna take you like, oh, you pop, oh, you big, you could afford what they got on. But at the same time, I hated it at the same time because it was like, okay, it wasn't many of my peers that had it. So it's like, okay, let me think about this differently. Okay, but I still wanted to have that stamp to say I wanted to be different. But thank God that the era of what we like from early 90s to early 2000s, I'm kind of glad that we got really smart with saying, okay, everybody was starting to gain this look. And I'm hating to say it like this, but it's the truth. It went from originality, it went to more so a thing of everybody was starting to dress alike. So when the thing of Jordans was starting to come into the play, along with all of these hip hop brands, it started.
Can I throw some names out there for the Black History? The Shine John, Diddy Combs, founder of that. You had the Vocal Nelly. You know what I'm saying? People don't even remember that. You know what I'm saying? I do. But
Master
you had
P.
the Vocal. Yeah, Master P
had his clothing line.
No Limit.
Who
else had one?
It was a couple other
Outcast have a
what was I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you one in a second as soon as it come back to me. But yeah, this is why I said those people like Karl Kani started that. Them dudes saw that he did that and was like, man, shoot, I want to have my own clothing brand. I want to do my own clothing thing. And a lot of them started growing just from that. They started getting that idea and jumped on it. So
can I do a fun fact? Karl Kani, if you go back and look at his when he first started making his clothes, It was just regular the Karl, you know, his name on there.
Mm-hmm.
He had when they people started stealing from him, he put the gold plate on there to
Mm-hmm.
make it identified, to make it harder to steal.
Mm-hmm.
But people got smarter with that and ended up, you know what I'm saying, taking that, finding out that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you go back and look at that, that's just a little trivia out there. You know, that's why he put the gold, you know, that the thing on there,
Mm-hmm.
because people were stealing, you
Yeah.
know, taking this product.
Yep. That's
Just
exactly.
want to throw that out there.
That's exactly right. I mean, it was like I said, it was a thing of brand. You know, like
Yeah.
that's most brands was doing that simple thing of just saying, okay, we're gonna put something on our clothes to say that this is ours. It makes the stamp of approval to make it ours. He was one of those people that was like, okay, I'm gonna take it that far, and I'm gonna make sure that I put this thing on everything. Mostly, I mean, it was some stuff it wasn't on. Jeans, shorts, the jeans and the shorts definitely. A lot of the shirts they had it on it too. But then what I didn't like about it though, if you wash the shirt too much, the thing would get too heavy on there and it'll come off sometime. But that's just if you was of that area, you know. But again, it was a thing, man. Like you said with cross colors, that was another one. Cross colors made sure they put this emblem on everything, even if the jeans was all red, all green. It could be the tie-dye wheel. They would still put this cross-color emblem on everything, and you knew it was theirs. It wasn't like you could duplicate it. You know, duplicating things at that time wasn't really a thing to say, because you had to have that touch. If you didn't have that touch, you just knew it was like authentic by touching it. Going these stores, I remember I used to go in Limbs at Eastland Mall. Eastland Mall used to have a store called Limbs, and it used to be a store over in Charlotte as well, off of Tryon, North Park Mall. Same
Yeah.
thing. They had these two urban stores in there, bro. And I'm telling you, they only sold the black lines. And another one I'm gonna throw out there is Karl, along with Karl Kani, people used to push was Kango hats. Kango was another situation where people they was adding that Kango touch to the cross color. You know, they had a Kango hat on, and you had a
Bro, you taking me back. I like going on YouTube. I like going on Google and searching this stuff. Look, the pictures they used to take back then.
Yeah.
This is why it's important. They say, you know, down every road down the way, you take a picture. You know what I'm saying? Because it's brutal. We wouldn't have never got to witness these visuals or photographs. So this great time, because of our age, we wasn't here. So it's good to take pictures and keep records and stuff like this.
I hate to say it for Q said he wasn't here, but I was actually here. But
well, I was a baby.
Yeah, I hate to say it, make me feel like, dog, I gotta be the one that was here. But again, no, nah, man, that was the whole point of the 90s, especially with hip-hop and culture. Like I said, it was clothing. Like those clothes changed a whole lot of roles of what people were doing, like fashion-wise, the way they wanted to carry themselves, and if they wanted to carry themselves a certain way, you had to really show yourself to be like a actual thing. And as I said, as the hip hop artist, especially Biggie stopped wearing Karl Kani as much when he switched over to Coogee. And once Coogee was a thing with him, it became this whole nother look. I mean, it was just stuff that was going on because Biggie, like I said, everybody
on Versace.
Yeah, he did Versace too. I mean, it was everybody that wanted to try something that wasn't the same as that guy. Oh, well, I don't want to wear what he wearing. I want to try something different. So a lot of the times, that's how the whole situation with Karl Kani didn't become a very big brand in time. But at the same time, he stuck around. He's still here. He's still selling clothes. That's a good thing. But nobody knew about that whole 90s move for them, man. Like that was so,
and it's important,
so
and it's
big.
important to this day. And it's important to this day, I feel, you know, what we do. I mean, I think we kind of got away from that, you know, from the fashion. I mean, it's strong, but it's not as strong as it could be. And that's why I would love to see the fashion game step up, especially the black fashion community, like, you know, step up how it used to be. You know what I'm saying? And because it's a lot of black clothing lines out here doing their thing now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to get more invested into supporting the black clothing. Like this is Black History Month, the Black founders, you know, the clothing lines, you know, and stuff like that. Because it's about putting money into these up and coming clothing lines. You have to start somewhere.
Definitely.
And we're in front of these cameras and we got people paying attention to us. We can expose it. You know what I'm saying? It's good. It's good promotion. Same way with anything we got going. We can give our stuff out to somebody to promote it. It's all about Black unity, and that's how we all grow. You know what I'm saying? As people. Keep the money within our community and do something with it. You know,
that's the task. That's the task that we all should go for, especially, man, moving to we in 2020s now. It's like it's so much technology and things that people can use to unlock a lot of these doors that they've been afraid to walk through for years and years. Like, I mean, you actually have a smorgasbord of creators, especially when it comes to like fashion, that's ready to go. Like, I mean, there's so many people out here doing fashion that we don't know about just due to the case of it's such a hidden talent. And then you got people like I said, like Karl Kani, who inspired people to be, you know, clothing designers, like put stuff together. Like, I mean, there's stuff out here that we don't even get to see. Like, I be looking on IG a lot, and it's like a lot of people that's Black that actually are out here being creators in that sense of fashion. But, you know, it's such a hidden talent. Again, you got to find them. It's hard to get to them because you have to find them. So, putting little plays together to try to connect with them that's that could be a pinnacle thing. Because like I said, you got all these people who are like celebrities. They'll get them a stylist, and they'll get a stylist ain't nobody ever heard of. Same situation. Like, those are the kind of people that a lot of people need to look for, especially if you're a fashion individual and you're Black. If you're Black fashion, especially, like, reach out to people like creators, content
like
creators.
people like us. That's what I'm about to say. People like us, you know, like for example, like we aware your stuff. We aware. I'm speaking
not promoted. It's them not promoted. That's still a thing. Because I mean, even if you hadn't took it off the ground yet and got it going yet, you know, it's still that possibility that you still can. Come on, camera. Come on. That you still can have that faith to be great with your content and with your product and getting it to the right people, because that's the thing. Like I said, it's a hidden talent. Nobody just goes and just buy it, because there's so many different people doing clothes and creating clothes and things of that nature. So it becomes a thing of it could be a very a big headache if you don't know what you're doing.
It's very crucial, man. It's very crucial. The Black clothing, I mean, that's a representation. There used to be a representation of who are Black, us, you know, our character, who we are as people. Same way with the hair. I can go in with the hair, like, you know, hair represents the Black individual. You know, our hair represents us. Like, you know, this is all part really the Black community pushes. You know what I'm saying? This is part of being Black, and that's why I think this was a good topic to bring up. You know, the clothing to the hair to, you know, just this is our root. This is our background. You know, so it's very important to know this stuff and actually get back to the root of things, because I think we kind of went away from it. You know, to having good times, to the house parties, you know what I'm saying? They used to have back then, you know, where it was all about having fun instead of going in the club fighting and seeing who you can fight. And you know what I'm saying? Used to go for the girls, you know, want to go in there and see the girls. Now guys going to the club focusing on guys, trying to fight the guy. Like, you know, like we need to get back. I would love to get back to that era. I know we can't get back there, but incorporate what they were doing back then to now. You know what I'm saying? That feel good, man. It's that feel good.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely those Black people that can be very stubborn to what we feel things should be, and again, hearing things and seeing things that of the past can kind of spark it, because you especially if it's an era where nobody knew of. The 90s is almost a hidden era because it's so much stuff that went on in the 90s. So a lot of that stuff got swept under the rug, as if in, because it looked good in some instances, but it didn't look good in some instances because they were against hip hop and culture that much. So yeah, it was. I used to hate it. I used to hate to see that black people were stamped for so long that now they just look at it as that. It's supposed to look a mess, but again, it don't look a mess. I mean, we still put our own spin on it. I mean, we still wear our same colors. We don't switch up a whole lot. I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's not like we trying to take the world and mess the world up or something like that. We just trying to do what we add our part to society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into the skinny jean era.
There's so many eras, man. That
I
came.
couldn't get into the skinny jean era. When Lil Wayne done that and made that popular, man. I couldn't get into that. Like and we're on Black History. I think I'm I'm going on record to say I was more into Wayne when he first came out, the Cash Money, the Young Wayne.
Yeah.
When he made that transition and started wearing the skinny jeans, it threw me off.
Yeah.
Even the Carter era, like I was kind of thrown off. Like I like the Young Wayne. You know what I'm saying? That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But and it goes. I guess I have an old soul, an old mindset. You know what I'm saying? I'm young. I'm midway, but I have an old soul. I still believe in my comfort. I like my stuff baggy. You know what I'm saying? Like I like my breathing room. You still look fly with your baggy on, getting your baggy on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some people, it's not a hidden talent. It's not a hidden talent at all. Like that's I mean, like I said, that's one of the things that pushed in from the 90s. That came in very much so. Late 80s, early 90s, when that baggy phase hit. I mean, you had so many people, like I said, Karl Kani jeans, baggy. Every Karl Kani fit I had, baggy. Like that was it then. Like, I mean, clothes that was too big. People like, oh man, that came out in 2000. We was doing the white tee phase. Nah, that started in the 80s, 90s, early 80s, early 90s. That was already going on, man. And it was
New
not
York,
like
New York, Brooklyn, man, really put that on the map.
Yeah, they squeezed a lot of that stuff. They squeezed a lot of that stuff in for, as I say, for fashion, for a thing of making a mark. And they made a mark. It worked this way. It worked this way completely around the world.
Yep.
But
yeah, man. It's good talk. Good talk, man.
I got one more thing. One more thing. Not even just as far as fashion. There's one person I must bring up, and I'm going to skim through this in a sense, but in a big way. One of our greats that we do not talk about. It was brought to my attention from somebody just due to watching these, but it made sense that I should never ever forget about certain people. These one of the people that you just can't forget about, and it is the great Jim Brown. Jim Brown is probably the most non-talked about black. I mean, not even just athlete. You're talking about athlete. You're talking about actor. You're talking about businessman. You're talking about somebody who stood for black folk and on something that, and especially in a space where black people were not allowed in, and that is the NCAA. A lot of us don't realize that the black athlete was not accepted in the NCAA, especially the predominantly white schools. So the predominantly white school weren't a thing of respected, especially in those times. He was there in the 50s, 60s era of all of this. So he went to, if those that don't know, look up the Jim Brown situation. I'm gonna run through it now too, if just so you know too, just so you can read along with us.
Yeah, hit me with the history because I'm young.
The big thing is what you got to realize with what happened with Jim Brown. Jim Brown, He was a great athlete in a lot of sports. He was not like just a one sport kind of guy. Matter of fact, I can tell y'all exactly what sports he played. He played football, of course. Everybody knew that. Football, he played lacrosse, he played baseball, he played basketball, and he ran track in high school. He was 6'2". He weighed 230 pounds. He went to Manhasset High School in Long Island. If you don't know where Long Island, New York is the situation, which is, of course, how he ended up at the college known as Syracuse. Okay. When he set so many records with everything coming out of high school, like as an athlete and as a black athlete. So when he went to his situation was to go to Syracuse. But the thing was, he couldn't get a scholarship due to being black. Due to being black, he could not get a scholarship, even with all the accolades he had, even with all the greatness he presented. This big 6'3" individual, 200+ pound running back was a force, was going to be somebody, was definitely going to be somebody. But look how he was frowned upon just due to him being black. Now, this is the situation. I'm going to read this because this part has to be read more so than just, I want people to hear it. Okay. Jim Brown's college years came in the mid-1950s, when America was still the better part of a decade from the height of civil rights movement. And even though Brown's talent was evident, he couldn't find a college because he was black. Keep reading. It took lobbying and persuasion from a man named Ken Malloy, a former two-time All-American lacrosse player at Syracuse, to get officials from the Central New York University. Even then, Malloy said that Syracuse didn't want black athletes and that the university didn't give the talented Brown a scholarship. So Malloy raised money to pay half of Brown's tuition for the first semester at Syracuse. Malloy himself paid the other half. And because a deal wasn't honored, Malloy paid in full for Brown's second semester. Listen to that. And I want to, I'm going to put up a picture on this while this is going, while I'm talking about this, because a lot of people of the 50s era, in a sense, how I'm trying to say this, we were respected, but we weren't respected. You had a certain group of people who respected us, but then you had a certain group of people who did not respect us that was of the Caucasian race. So for the sake of understanding this, let me break this down. Ken Malloy, he was born in 1919, August 2nd, 1919. He died March 9th, 1999. He was a judge on the New York State Supreme Court, and he was one of those individuals that had to go to war. He was in World War II. But again, with all that going on, as I said, this was a white man, okay, who paid for a black man's college tuition to show
follow that people follow that
to show that this, to hear this. And I want to read a little bit more of what I was just touching
in
on.
a time where racism was crazy.
Let me keep reading. And exactly. So meanwhile,
that was a bold decision for that white man to make.
Definitely.
What could have came his way for doing that.
Let me keep reading. Meanwhile, Brown had to deal with many limitations at Syracuse during his first year on campus, from being hosed in a non-athlete dormitory to playing other positions than his normal running back position, meaning they were just putting him in putting him in and letting him play football, but they wasn't giving him the situation of what he was good at. They were just throwing him anything.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
And this was 1950s.
Yeah.
So fast forward today, and you have people say, "Oh, y'all not dealing with that. Y'all not dealing with the racism like that. Y'all not dealing with slavery like that." They do it in a certain other ways, though. And how you said that right there, black people tend to get the ishy jobs, the bad positions, the what I'm saying, the harder jobs, the hard laboring jobs. Like we always have to prove ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
But let's look at it like this. But let's look at it like this too, bro.
Yeah, we can.
Let's look at it like this too. In a sense of,
and I'm not saying we're dealing with what they're dealing with, but I'm saying in a certain extent,
in a sense
it might not be as bad.
Yeah, in a sense of, this is one thing I've learned to look at it as, because we're always gonna have to deal with hecklers that are racist. In a sense of, especially no matter what you're doing, I mean, it's always gonna be signs of it somewhere. Now, this is one thing I always say too. Let's look at it from a standpoint of, if those people of the 50s, what they feel about now. And that's why I was telling, in the sense of, like, with like, I have like vivid memories and conversations with people that are like dead and gone. I told you this before. They're not here anymore.
Okay.
They wanted me to respect something when it came to the code of understanding what they had to deal with and coming to the time of what we have now. And a lot of those people told me that they did not want me to press the fact or the issue of the case of saying that leave the situation of racism as a plain sight, yes, but make it a thing of, don't use the history as the pain. And a lot of us tend to do that. And I'm gonna say why.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
A lot of those same people from the 1950s are the older people that were racist or had racism in their heart. Don't you know a lot of them still preside in the court systems? Like, so like when the district attorneys, the people that's responsible for the fate of criminals. So you can still say it's still certain ways that blacks have to jump hurdles, if you want to put it that way. Because if you get in trouble, these politicians are old. That's one thing I know. A lot of these people are older. They're in from that time. We don't know if they had a little bit of slight of racism in them. They might not like, black folks. Yeah, but so it's always gonna be that slight bit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, again,
it's never gonna be gone.
That's why when I started out just saying that part, that's why I said,
that's why I wanted to follow it up.
No, it's if you live in the world, it don't have to be said. What's already known don't have to be explained, and that's the thing. Like, it's already known, so it's not a thing.
I'm just saying, stay out of trouble, brothers.
It's just stay out of trouble. All you got to do, stay out of the way. That's all you got to do. It's simple to do. You don't have to be and hang around situations that bring bad energy to your life. That's something that you have to make sure that you are doing what it takes to stay out of the way. And another thing too to add to this is, like, movements of the 50s were very different. But again, the situation that we're talking about one of the first individuals to do this, meaning the crowds, that the things they had to deal with, the structure of mentality then was very different than the structured mentality that we have now. And I'm gonna say why, because it used to be a thing of, you didn't have white people that would come on networks and say, "Oh, I love black people. I love black people. I represent black people. I stand for black people. I stand with black people." This was one of the first guys. Malloy was one of the first people to ever do that. But see, you got to realize what we have now is a very big bubble of it. But then it was rarely seen. So again, let me keep reading this because I want this to be heard.
Yeah, my bad, man.
Oh
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no,
my
you
bad, man.
fine. Brown immediately had a face adversity in most common form during that time, discrimination because of his race. Most people today wouldn't stay in athletics, much less at Syracuse, after all of the trouble Brown faced before and during his time on campus. Even more so, if someone did stay after all of that turmoil, it would be hard to maintain the athletic standard that Brown showcased in high school. But after finally getting a scholarship in his sophomore year, Brown showed no drop in front, meaning he was the second leading rusher on the team the next year. He averaged 5.2 yards per carry. The following year, Brown was a consensuous first team, no, consensus first team All-American. Again, let me say that Brown was a consensus first team All-American. This was his
Can I say something?
junior year.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
So not only this man had to focus on the sport, this man had to focus on the adversity. This man had to focus on the racism. This man had to focus on his academics. And the man still was successful. So, man, it made me feel like, why would I complain about something small? It kind of puts it in perspective.
Browns NFL, Browns NFL accolades are well known at this point as well. He was a 3-time MVP and an NFL champion, leading the league in rushing in all but one of his seasons that he played for the Cleveland Browns. However, the NFL was not where he started to cement his legacy as the greatest player ever. That came at the school that was so reluctant to admit him in the first place. Brown still set single season school record in his senior year by averaging 6.2 yards per carry while opponents yelled racist slurs and hit him in ways they wouldn't hit others on the field, meaning the other players, they treated him as if in such he was that black player. So again,
and let me throw this in there. What and can you imagine the referees being racist, you know, and they're not throwing the flag for you. Yeah, they supporting the stuff thrown at you and the racist words being thrown at you. Go ahead. I just want to paint a picture.
But Brown's
this
legacy,
man dealt with.
But hold on. Let me get back to it. But Brown's legacy is a short. Be done 1 second. 2 paragraphs. But Brown's legacy is not limited to football. He is largely considered the greatest lacrosse player ever, forcing the NCAA to change multiple rules to limit his dominance. Brown would sometimes play lacrosse games and participate in track and field events on the same day, sometimes at the same time. He has 2 awards named after him in 2 different sports: the Jim Brown Award for best running back in the NFL and the Jim Brown MVP Award in the Premier Lacrosse League. When you think of the game changers in regards to athletes, we often gravitate towards on-field performance, and Brown certainly delivered on that and with records he achieved in multiple sports. However, his accomplishments came with many outside forces attempting to stunt his ability to perform on the field. In order to become a world-changing athlete, widely considered to be the best athlete ever, facing racism, discrimination, and adversity like Brown did, you cannot
Didn't I just say that?
You cannot just be a normal. You just cannot be a normal person, and that came via newsmagician.com, and they are very big on basically Cleveland Browns and situation like that. They're like basically news individuals, but basically they wrote a good article about him. My dad actually passed that on to me. One thing I see again is like some people overlook certain things, especially when it comes to history, and considerably being an inventor. That's kind of slightly along the inventor line as well. But most cases, most of these people don't have that drive, that ability to be great, just because the case of they're not driven, they're not trying. And to think about all of the people and all of the adversity that we got to deal with now, just listen to what I just talked about. Think about if you had to really deal with like actual things of the world, they really could probably tear you apart. They probably can tear you down just due to the graphic mentality of what
Man,
blacks had to deal with.
man, for real. We complained about one little small thing.
Yeah.
Hey, me included. You know, I called you, you know, a little situation I had, man. I said, man, but it shows like even I think back to my mom, how I'm sure she had plenty bad days. You know, she went to work every day though. You know, she never made excuses. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure she dealt with a lot though. And my grandmother dealt with a lot. You're talking about a woman that went to work every day and then comes in one day, like for years, and then comes in one day and gets laid off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that generation, the older generation, is different. They different in a good way. Like, I mean, the black older generation different in a good way. And I want to give kudos and props to them because I have witnessed it firsthand. This ain't just me saying it. I witnessed it. I've been around these beautiful, black, strong black women, especially women in my life, you know. Men too, but my case is women. You know, it's some strong black people out here, man. You know, from the past. Yeah,
Definitely, man. But yeah, man, I think we done reached the cap time limit, but it's a lot.
We said a lot, man. We said a lot.
It's a lot that's been said. So again, I ain't here to hold nothing. If you still riding with us, appreciate it. If nothing else, subscribe, hit that like button, tap in with us, tap into everything that we got going on at notjustmusicpodcast.com. There's plenty going on there. There's plenty to look at. There's plenty to go over. Like I said, it's been a very good Black History Month. It's a lot of Black History things to learn. There's a lot of Black History things to go over. We shouldn't forget about none of this stuff.
None of it.
But again, we appreciate y'all sitting through it. I'm Duan, bring on Quincy Murdoch, and we out.